They laughed at him, mocked him, called him useless, but what they didn't know was that he could buy the entire company they worked for. This is the story of a young man who chose humility over privilege and pain over shortcuts. Until one day, everything changed. Ayan was just 24. On his first day at the office, he wore a plain white shirt, slightly creased. His shoes were scuffed, and his watch was cheap, probably bought from a street vendor. To everyone around him, he looked like just another desperate intern, someone who needed the job badly. And that's exactly what Ayan wanted them to think. Because Ayan wasn't ordinary. He was the only son of one of the richest men in the country, a silent investor in the very company he was now working for. But no one knew that. He had hidden his last name, hidden his connections, hidden the billions he could claim at any moment. Why? Because Ayan was on a mission, not to take over the world with his father's money, but to earn respect the hard way. He wanted to prove something, not to others, but to himself. I want to know what I'm really made of, not what people think I am just because of my last name. That was his only goal, his only dream. Every day, he arrived first and left last. He followed instructions without complaint, took notes no one read, and stayed silent when others took credit for his work. He smiled when ignored. He apologized when insulted. Because deep down, he was preparing for something much bigger than a paycheck. This wasn't just a job. It was his test, a test of patience, of character, and of whether the world could recognize real worth without a name tag. At first, Ayan thought it was harmless, a few sarcastic remarks about his clothes, a couple of snide looks when he shared ideas, colleagues rolling their eyes whenever he spoke. But soon, the jokes turned into cruelty. He was assigned the worst tasks, fetching coffee, cleaning up after meetings, running errands that had nothing to do with his actual job. And every time he tried to speak up with a new idea or a suggestion, someone older, louder, meaner, would shut him down. They laughed behind his back. They mocked his every move. And during meetings, when Ayan quietly shared his ideas with the team, ideas that could have improved their projects, they were either ignored or worse, stolen. "Stick to filing papers, rookie," one senior sneered after taking credit for Ayan's innovative design. Ayan knew he could stop it all. With one phone call, he could have ended every insult, every injustice. He could have had them all fired with a single word, but he didn't. Because Ayan wasn't just fighting office bullies. He was fighting his own pride. The real conflict was inside him. Do I walk away and expose who I really am? Or do I endure the pain and let my work speak for itself? He chose to stay silent. But the silence came at a cost. Each day the humiliation grew. Each day the respect he craved felt further away. And yet, he endured, because he knew storms don't last forever, but what you become during the storm does. Ayan had hoped things would eventually get better, that maybe, if he just worked hard enough, stayed humble enough, they would finally see his value. But instead, things got worse. The senior team didn't just mock him anymore. They started sabotaging him. One day, he found his code had been deleted just before a big presentation. Another day, someone accidentally sent his private notes to the wrong client, causing confusion and embarrassment. And worst of all, his ideas were now routinely stolen, then twisted and presented by others as their own. "You're not here to think, you're here to follow," his manager snapped, right after pitching Ayan's own idea to the board. His confidence started to crack. He began to question himself. Was he really capable? Or had his father's name always been his only strength? He wanted to believe in his own ability. But how do you prove yourself in a system that's built to crush you the moment you show potential? No one wanted to see Ayan rise, because in every insecure employee around him, his quiet brilliance felt like a threat. They saw him as weak because he didn't fight back. But what they didn't understand was that Ayan wasn't weak. He was holding back. He wasn't afraid of being broken. He was afraid of becoming like them. And so he stayed, swallowing every insult, rebuilding every destroyed effort, still choosing patience when anger would have been easier. But the obstacles kept growing, until one day they pushed him too far. When you're born with everything, the hardest thing to earn is respect. That was Ayan's belief. That's what led him to that office, with a fake last name, no car, no watch, no ego, just a notebook, a dream, and the hunger to build a life of his own. He could have had private jets. He chose public trains. He could have been the CEO on day one. He chose to be an intern. Because when his father entered the scene, it wasn't a random moment. It was the perfect payoff to Ayan's journey. It didn't overshadow Ayan's struggle. It didn't make his effort seem insignificant. In fact, it validated everything Ayan had been through. His father's intervention wasn't just about power. It was about recognizing the worth of the son who had been quietly transforming through adversity. The entire story, humiliation, obstacles, the gradual internal development, came together in that final moment where Ayan could finally see the results of his inner strength. The unity in the narrative is clear. Each struggle, each small choice, had a purpose in the larger story of personal transformation. And the beauty of this unity? Ayan's father stepping in wasn't a way to diminish Ayan's effort. It was the confirmation that his journey was valid. His quiet strength was the reason his father knew when to step in. It wasn't a shortcut. It was the final reward for the patience and resilience Ayan had shown throughout. The story takes place in a high-stakes corporate environment where everyone is fighting for a seat at the table. It's a world of sharp suits, expensive lunches, and power plays. But behind that polished exterior, it's a world filled with unseen battles, where respect is often earned not by skill, but by who you know and what you have. This world reinforces the idea that to be seen, to be valued, you must prove yourself on someone else's terms. Ayan enters this world not with a name to flaunt, not with wealth to buy his way in. He is, at the start, an invisible figure, just another intern in a sea of overconfident, experienced professionals. He faces the external conflict of being overlooked, ridiculed, and pushed down, all because he isn't seen as someone with power. But the real story happens beneath the surface. It's in the quiet moments when Ayan refuses to give in, when he continues working long hours without praise, trying to prove to himself that his worth doesn't depend on his last name. While the office members only see Ayan as just another intern, the truth is far from it. His father's wealth and influence are the hidden elements that, unknown to everyone in that office, shapes the very foundation of the company they work for. His father's involvement in the company represents the tension between family legacy and personal achievement. Ayan's journey is about proving that he doesn't need to ride on that legacy, but rather build his own path to success. At the core of this story is Ayan's integrity. He could have used his father's name, his wealth, or his connections to rise to the top in the blink of an eye. But he chose humility instead. The world around him was constantly trying to force him to reveal his identity. And while his father's wealth could have easily given him an upper hand, Ayan's choice to remain humble and prove his worth in silence shapes the heart of the narrative. Ayan is the heart of this story, a young man caught between two worlds. On the outside, he's the humble intern, unnoticed and undermined by those around him. On the inside, however, he's a powerhouse of potential, trying to prove that he's more than just his father's legacy. Personality. Ayan is quietly strong. Not the loud, attention-seeking kind of strong, but the kind of strength that comes from enduring pain, learning from failure, and quietly striving for greatness. He's humble, patient, and relentlessly dedicated to doing things his own way, even if it means enduring public humiliation. Motivation. His main goal is to prove to himself that he is capable, that his worth is defined by his own actions and character, not by the wealth or name of his father. The office bullies try to break him, but Ayan's true battle is against his own doubts. The humiliation and obstacles become catalysts for his growth, leading him to find his true power. Development. Throughout the story, Ayan transforms from a quiet, overlooked intern into a confident individual who recognizes his worth. The tension between staying silent and standing up for himself is what shapes him into someone who doesn't need validation from others, because he has already validated himself. Ayan's father is the mysterious figure who looms in the background of the story. Though he doesn't appear until the climax, his presence is felt throughout. He represents authority, power, and the silent weight of the family legacy. Personality. Ayan's father is a man of few words, stoic, commanding, and deeply respected. He doesn't speak much, but when he does, it's always with purpose. His calm demeanor hides a mind that understands the importance of letting Ayan carve his own path, even if that means letting him fail first. Role in the story. While his father's intervention in the office at the end is dramatic, it's not just about saving Ayan. It's about recognizing the growth in his son. He knows Ayan has already proven himself through his struggles and, in the final moments, steps in not as a savior, but as someone who acknowledges the effort his son has made. Development. His father's true character is revealed at the end. He's not just the rich, powerful figure Ayan tries to avoid. He's someone who, at the right moment, acknowledges the strength in his son and makes the decision to let him continue his journey without the shadow of his wealth. The office bullies represent the external conflict in Ayan's journey. They are the ones who mock him, dismiss his ideas, and try to break him down. They embody everything Ayan is fighting against: arrogance, ego, and the belief that power and respect are easily bought. Personality. These are the colleagues who have climbed their way to the top through manipulation, flattery, and stealing credit. They feel threatened by anyone who dares to be different, who dares to challenge the status quo. They mock Ayan for his humility and belittle him at every turn. Role in the story. They serve as a constant reminder of the world Ayan is trying to navigate, a world where respect is not given, but earned through conformity and submission. They push him to the point where he must choose between staying silent and walking away, or breaking free from their control and standing up for his worth. Development. While they remain largely unchanged throughout the story, they serve an important purpose. They push Ayan to his breaking point, forcing him to either give up or rise above. In the end, they are fired, but their role in the story isn't about revenge. It's about Ayan realizing that his journey to success doesn't need to be defined by their actions. The senior executives are the backdrop against which the real drama unfolds. They're the ones who see Ayan's growth and eventual breakthrough, but they're also the ones who fail to recognize his value until Ayan proves himself beyond their expectations. Personality. They represent the traditional corporate mindset, focused on results, titles, and profits. They don't have time to appreciate character or integrity until it's too late. They are the passive onlookers who are quick to praise someone else for Ayan's work, but slow to realize the value of what he truly brings to the table. Role in the story. The executives are largely irrelevant until Ayan's father steps in. They are the external validation Ayan does not need. They are part of the world Ayan is trying to succeed in. But in the end, it's his own worth that matters far more than their approval. The story starts with Ayan's internal and external conflict. As a young intern in a corporate world dominated by egos and power plays, Ayan is constantly humiliated and overlooked. His work is ignored, his ideas are stolen, and his self-esteem takes a hit with every passing day. Ayan's response. Rather than fighting back immediately, Ayan chooses to keep his head down, focusing on his work. His internal battle is centered on the decision to stay humble and patient, knowing that his time will come. This moment of passive resistance is crucial. It shows that Ayan's strength doesn't lie in retaliation, but in endurance and dedication. After weeks of being overlooked and belittled, the turning point occurs during a critical meeting. Ayan's ideas are stolen by a colleague, and the team praises someone else for the work Ayan has done. This is the breaking point. Ayan's choice. He's humiliated once more, But rather than reacting emotionally or trying to expose the truth in the heat of the moment, Ayan makes a critical choice. He decides to focus on proving himself through his actions, not through confrontation. Key development. This moment shows a major shift in Ayan. Rather than seeking approval or validation from others, he begins to own his journey and focus solely on his craft. This is where his internal growth begins to outpace his external struggles. The plot takes a dramatic turn when Ayan's father, who is the true owner of the company, walks into the office unexpectedly. His presence shifts the entire narrative. What was once Ayan's personal struggle is now a family conflict. The father's role. His father's entrance into the story isn't just about saving Ayan. It's about acknowledging the growth in his son. While Ayan's father has been absent until this moment, his arrival serves as the moment when Ayan's growth is fully recognized. Key development. The father's intervention represents the culmination of Ayan's journey. Ayan's true worth is validated, not through a moment of revenge, but through his father's respect for the person Ayan has become, independent of wealth and legacy. The culmination of Ayan's journey comes when his father fires everyone who has wronged him, revealing that the company's toxic culture has been destroyed. But the true victory is Ayan's internal transformation. Internal victory. The real reward for Ayan is not the firing of the office bullies, but the recognition that his own strength and character have carried him through the darkest moments. He's no longer defined by the office politics or his father's wealth. He's earned respect through his own resilience. External victory. As Ayan's father takes control of the company's future, Ayan is now seen for who he truly is, an individual who has proven his worth. This shift marks the final stage of his development, where he is free from the shadows of his father and can confidently move forward as his own man. Ayan, once the underdog, has emerged victorious. His struggle has led him to the realization that real power comes from within, from the ability to stay true to yourself, to rise above external pressures, and to continue working toward your goals, even when the world is against you. Key message. The development of Ayan's character is not about him becoming someone else. It's about him uncovering his true potential. He's no longer the quiet intern or the son of a billionaire. He's a man who has earned his place in the world, not through wealth or status, but through character, resilience, and patience. From the very beginning, we've seen Ayan endure pain in silence. Every jab from his colleagues, every stolen idea, and every dismissive smirk has been fuel on a fire burning slowly inside him. But what makes this story truly gripping is that Ayan doesn't lash out. Instead, the tension is psychological. The viewer watches him show up early and leave late, pick up others' slack without complaint, accept credit being given to others while staying focused. This quiet endurance becomes almost unbearable to watch. The viewer starts to feel his pain, rooting for him. And then, one day, they go too far. In a team meeting meant to present a new project idea, one Ayan designed from scratch, his manager presents it as his own. He even ridicules Ayan subtly in front of executives, calling him just the intern who helped a bit with formatting. The room laughs. Ayan's eyes drop. The fire inside him erupts, but silently. This is the tipping point. The dramatic tension peaks. The viewer isn't sure what Ayan will do, but they know something big is coming. Then it happens. Just when it seems Ayan will swallow his pride one more time, the door opens. And in walks his father, the company's secret billionaire founder. The entire room falls silent. No one knew Ayan was his son. Not the manager, not the executives, not the bullies who made his life miserable. They stare in disbelief. His father doesn't greet anyone. He walks straight to Ayan, places a firm hand on his shoulder, and says calmly, "You've shown more strength than this entire room combined." He turns to the stunned executives and staff. "You had my son working under you, not because he wanted privilege, but because he wanted to earn everything on his own. And what did you do? You stole his ideas. You disrespected him. You mocked him. The silence is deafening. Then he delivers the blow. You're all fired. Every one of you who thought cruelty was leadership. Gasps fill the room. The bullies, once smug and untouchable, are now trembling. This is the climax, the point where all the injustice is turned upside down. But here's the twist. Ayan doesn't smile. He doesn't gloat. He doesn't say a word. Why? Because his journey wasn't about revenge. It was about respecting himself, even when no one else did. In the aftermath, Ayan and his father walk down the hallway together. For the first time, Ayan's father speaks to him as an equal, not as a son to protect, but as a man to respect. You didn't need me to fight your battles, his father says, but I needed the world to see who you are. Ayan responds simply, I just wanted to do it right. No celebrations, no headlines, no dramatic music, just the quiet satisfaction of knowing who you are and being proud of it. The resolution is not about wealth, punishment, or success in the world's eyes. It's about internal triumph. Ayan didn't win because his father stepped in. He won because he stayed true to his character when it was hardest to do so. Ayan is not just a quiet intern. He's the son of the company's billionaire founder. But none of his co-workers know this. They believe he's just another nobody, an ordinary intern with no power, no connections, and no voice. This ignorance drives how they treat him. They mock him in meetings. They steal his ideas. They speak down to him like he's beneath them. And all the while, the viewer is thinking, if only they knew who he really is. He could have walked into that office on day one and said, I'm the founder's son. He could have gotten instant respect, special treatment, maybe even a leadership role. But he chose to remain silent, to start at the bottom, to earn everything without using his last name. That decision turns the dramatic irony into a lesson. Real strength isn't about what you inherit. It's about who you choose to be when no one is watching. Ayan's humility. Early in the story, we show Ayan rejecting his father's help. I don't want special treatment. Let me earn it. This moment sets the tone for his values and foreshadows that he has something deeper to prove, not to the world, but to himself. The father's silence. We hint at the father's awareness, perhaps through a brief phone call or an unseen figure in a black car watching Ayan enter the building. These subtle hints prepare the audience for the possibility that Ayan's not alone, even if he feels like he is. The rising abuse. The increasing cruelty from Ayan's coworkers is not random. It follows a pattern. Each insult escalates, each stolen credit deepens the injustice. This builds emotional momentum toward a breaking point. Symbolic items. Maybe Ayan keeps a photo of his late mother or a worn-out journal where he writes ideas. These little details are emotional props that prepare the audience to see his inner world and remind us that he's fighting for more than just a job. Quiet over celebration. Instead of a party or applause, Ayan walks away calmly. This silence says more than words ever could. He didn't want revenge. He wanted respect, private conversation with the father. In a simple scene, maybe in the parking lot or a quiet cafe, Ayan's father tells him, I watched you suffer. I saw what you endured, and I've never been prouder. This gives the audience emotional closure. Ayan was seen, even when no one in the office respected him. New opportunities, but on Ayan's terms. The story hints that Ayan may take on a role in the company, but only if he can build it the right way. He says, if I come back, I'll build something that lifts people, not crushes them. This leaves viewers inspired and ties back to the story's moral core. Final visual. Ayan, walking alone, standing taller. The final image could be Ayan walking down the same hallway he used to walk with his head down, but now upright, confident, transformed. If this story moved you, don't forget to like the video and share it with someone who's ever been underestimated. Subscribe for more stories that reveal the power of quiet strength.